Attraction is complicated. Well, it's complicated at least for women. I bet if you see a woman you are physically attracted to, she's just your type, you engage with her and she seems like nice and quite open and friendly, you're like, job done, I'd love to go on a date with her. Perhaps that's left you feeling confused as to why when you go on dates, it feels like it's going really well. Maybe you even have a kiss at the end. She seems like the conversation is flowing, only afterwards for her to then send you the message, I just wasn't feeling the spark, or I just didn't feel that connection. So what do women actually find attractive? What does it take for them to really fall deeply into being into a guy? Like, why aren't you creating those intense feelings within her? This also might come out in even your online dating world. Perhaps you're getting some pretty okay matches coming through, but they're never really translating into real life dates. And of course, as your dating coach, that's what I want to be happening for you. I want you to be having real life dates, really good interactions with women, and a really rewarding dating life that maybe leads to a relationship if that's what you want. So that's why I'm here today in my office. Please excuse the wacky wallpaper, to record this special short video for you on 5 secrets to attraction. And I bet you haven't heard of at least 3 of them. So today I'm going to be lifting the lid on what really makes a woman, won't quite go as far as to say addicted to you, but at least to start to see you as really different from any of the other guys she's interacting with. What does it take? Like, I know you're a really great guy. I know you've got a lot of value to offer. I know you'd probably make a woman really, or women really happy if you had the opportunity to get in front of them. But perhaps at the moment that's just not happening. So these tools and techniques will hopefully allow you to get on women's radars and stop you getting the dreaded, I just didn't feel the spark message. Okay, so you're ready for really important attraction secret number 1. Attraction secret number 1 is actually all about the story you create for her. So you're like, huh? What's attraction got to do with the story? So by story, I mean, how does she interpret the interaction? What's her narrative around it? If her narrative is, this is just some random guy on a dating app who's like chancing it, trying to send me a message, or this guy just thinks I'm hot and he's slid into my DMs on Instagram, obviously, as a story of why you like her, that doesn't create a lot of attraction for her. It's not very appetizing. It's definitely not romantic. And it doesn't help her to see you as different from all of the other guys out there. So what are some better stories we want to create? Well, I think the most powerful one is, of course, that you're a guy that has high standards, lots of choice, but there's something in her that you've seen and witnessed which is making her stand out from the other women. As you probably know, there are, of course, some really, I don't like to call people low value. I think it's a cruel and mean way to speak about people, but I guess guys who haven't had that much opportunity with women, and because of that, that comes out in their behavior. You know, maybe they accept really bad behavior from the woman. They don't have any standards for her. They continually pursue women who aren't showing them any signs of being attracted to them. And I don't want you to ever present yourself accidentally as this guy. Instead, the perfect narrative, the perfect story we want to have for her is, you're almost like Prince Charming. You've walked into the ball. There's a hell of a lot of attractive women in there. But as I said, there's something unique about her which is making you more excited to get to know her better. Now, how do you demonstrate this? Well, apart from the obvious things like not pursuing a woman if she's not giving you enough back, if she's not responding to your messages, if she's giving you really lame responses on a dating app, then choosing to walk away from the table is probably the most powerful thing you can do to create attraction, because you're really challenging that narrative. You're showing up as Prince Charming, the high value guy. Even if that isn't available to you, what we really want to do is demonstrate there's something about her that has made you interested. So if she, for instance, is contributing on the dating app and she's giving you information you hadn't necessarily asked for, or she's sharing details about her life that she wants to impress you with, it's really good to validate that. So rather than telling her she's got a great smile, saying something like, oh, it's really great that you've got those values, or that surprises me, or I wouldn't have guessed that about you, or I'm pleasantly surprised you're like that. Something like that shows almost like you've got your interview checkbox, the questions that you are looking for in your prospective girlfriend or date, and that she's just ticked one of your boxes. Really important when you're communicating with women, you have to show that you've listened to what they've contributed to the conversation, and you have to validate her because of that. And if you haven't been able to say something like, I really like how you're spontaneous, or I like that you're caring, or that's good that you're like that. If you haven't got to that stage in the interaction, then usually that's your indicator that you just haven't done enough in the conversation in order to warrant moving it forward to either getting a phone number or suggesting meeting up on a date. So if you're mindful that you have to pass that milestone first, then you also will start to understand the work that you need to do earlier on in the conversation to really help her to open up and get those high quality responses from her. So my second attraction secret isn't that much of a secret at all, it's contribution. So I think we all understand, right, that people tend to value what they work for. So the problem is, and maybe you feel like women, attractive women, don't have to work for very much, right? They get flown everywhere first class by the guys that are interested in them. They get to jump the queue. They get into the nightclub for free. They get free drinks. It's like, this sounds great. However, in her interactions with you, she has to put some effort in. If she doesn't, first of all, you should screen her out and just be like, this isn't good enough for me. But remember, it's not about how much you impress her, what a great performance you give, or how awesome or confident you seem. What will make her want to stay in touch with you and see you again is how much effort she's put into the interaction. So start to notice these signs from women. Is she perhaps sharing more information than you asked her to share? She's giving you more details of her life. Is she trying to emphasize that she's got good values? Is she telling you that she's close to her family, or she doesn't do this online dating thing very much? I need you to start to become much more aware of when women are contributing and when they're actually making an effort in the interaction. These are the best women, the best opportunities for you to focus on, because before even meeting you, she's showing up that she is in the right headspace for dating. Choosing the right women to focus on and understanding that a key criteria for that is their contribution is my second attraction secret. I hope you're enjoying these learnings so far. I've got 3 more amazing pieces of information for you on what enables her to feel a really strong attraction for you. And remember to keep watching to the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you more about how you can continue on this learning journey. Okay, so the third attraction secret I have for you is that she has to see you as unique and different. If she feels like, oh, it's just another guy joining this big queue of guys who are wanting to date me, it's going to be hard for her to see why she should pay any special attention to you. And again, there's lots of ways you can accidentally communicate you're just another guy. For instance, if your messages to her on a dating app are very generic, you just say, hey, how's your weekend going? Immediately it's like, she's probably got 10 messages in her inbox that say exactly the same thing. So how is she to know what's special and interesting about you? You may also have accidentally written a dating app profile, which is incredibly generic. Maybe you've used lots of emojis. Maybe you've given a list of things you like. Maybe you say like, I like going to the movies, skiing on the weekends, hanging out with friends. Like, are you using a list on your dating app profile, which just makes you sound like everyone else? And remember, pretty much everyone likes sports, travel, music. So where's your individual expression there? How is she reading your profile and getting a really strong sense of your personality? And as I said, I also need you to think about your responses to her. If she says something and you think 99% of guys would respond one way, how can you be the 1% and really curveball your response? Do you need to be less agreeable? Do you need to challenge her a little bit more? Do you need to have a stronger flow in the conversation? So rather than you just saying, oh, yeah, that's cool, I really like that too, could you say something like, I'm going to 50% agree with you, but you're never going to convince me to like X, Y, Z. How can we create that challenge and that contrast in the conversation, if only to create points of difference around you? So you want to think about having very unique language and phrasing and things like your dating app profiles and messages that will really help you to stand out. You also want to make sure that your personal brand is really consolidated. So For instance, if your dating app profile is kind of coming together, but your social media is a mess, or maybe your WhatsApp or your iMessage profile picture is old, we want to tidy all that stuff up. So remember, we're going to be presenting you in a really attractive way. Now, a mistake lots of guys think about attraction is that there's only one kind of man that women are attracted to. I usually like to name Dan Bilzerian here because I think he's so extreme. Maybe you think that's what women like, this like really confident alpha, muscly dude with guns and like loads of women in bikinis. But then you just have to think, women are also really into guys like Timothy Chalamet, I probably mispronounced that, or James Bond, who's an introvert, or Russell Brand, who's like arty and weird. So it's not about being like this generic guy. It's about actually recognizing what your brand identity is and really working with it. This leads me on to attraction secret number 4, which is actually, how are you socially demonstrating what kind of a guy you are? By that, now we're going to look at some things that are, yes, a little bit more superficial, but are also important. So women will tend to want to date guys who they think are of a similar social group to them or an aspirational social group. She probably has a lot of a better friendship circle than you do. And long story short, that's because I think whilst you are going to be focusing on how do I meet the women I want, she's going to be focusing on where are the guys that I want. So she sees her social circle as highly important to being able to get access to this amazing pool of guys that she wants to meet. So how you communicate around that is going to be really important. So things like fashion. Okay, I am not, as you can probably tell, I'm not like a fashionista. I'm certainly not superficial. I like very much happiest in the countryside, just hanging out, being casual and relaxed. That's my vibe. However, I think for a lot of women who they're on social media, they are obviously hot and focused to an extent on their appearance. Fashion talks, and you want the language of your fashion to say, I am in the same social group as you, or you could take me anywhere. So seeing that you have really good fashion and that you also have your own circle of friends, even if it's a small circle compared to her circle, is really important. So I've done lots of other videos on developing your social circles. And if you're at the start of that process, yes, it takes time. Yes, it might feel easier to just be like, well, I'll just get a girlfriend and that's my social life sorted. Doesn't actually work that way. You're going to need to have your own social collateral. Things like knowledge of date venues. So knowing where she likes to hang out, being able to suggest a date venue that's interesting and unique or that like fits with somewhere that she would think is cool is really important. As are things like having, to an extent, if you are looking to date a woman in like a big city in the West, like maybe New York or London, you also want to show that you are native enough. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be American or British by birth. It means that you have to have enough command of the native language that most people speak and enough knowledge of the immediate physical environment that you're in. And that is also kind of linked to my 5th and final attraction key, which is all about making her feel secure because you are so masculine. Now, if you want a really feminine, attractive, beautiful, warm, caring, supportive, feminine woman, then it's good for you to emphasize these points of your masculinity. And luckily for you, this doesn't mean you have to go club a bear or, as I said, be Dan Bilzerian, because luckily we live in 2022, so we don't want toxic masculinity here. We want like modern masculinity. There are some simple ways that you can show this, but I think a really good analogy for how you put this modern masculinity across is that yes, you are a hunter, but you are not a hungry hunter. So a hungry hunter is a hunter that hasn't had a good meal, i.e. a good sexual relationship in a long time. And because of that, you feel everything that you feel like when you've been losing the game for a while. Like you feel frustrated, you feel like you are reactive to situations that come your way. You really want them to pan out. So maybe that comes across as you being perhaps slightly needy or slightly pushy. We want to prune out all of those behaviors. And I know it might feel strange, especially if you don't feel like you've had that abundance yet to act as if you do. But when you act in a way where you demonstrate higher standards in the women that you want, and you don't accidentally communicate, I'm a hungry hunter and I really need this to work in your behavior, actually, you're going to find that more of those interactions start to work out. You start to actually do better and better. And when a woman senses that you have this really grounded masculinity where you don't need anything from her, she'll start to feel really secure and really safe, and she'll really start to enjoy that presence that you give her. And of course, there's other simple ways you can create security with her, like clear and direct communication, not being apologetic, not over explaining or justifying yourself, good date planning. Like, there's a whole list, isn't there, about ways that you can put this across. But it's important for me in this video just to help you to understand the principle. So why am I sharing all of this with you today? Well, I am kind of almost fed up really of like attraction being boiled down to just be confident or just be damn Bilzerian. In fact, it's not really like that. And I think especially for those of you out there who want to achieve great things with women, you know, you want to have that really high quality girlfriend, you want to have great interactions with them. It's so worthwhile you understanding attraction in a more holistic way, and then also understanding how you can implement that through things like a better dating app profile, better messaging skills, better conversation skills, better date planning, better ways of communicating physical attraction to her and being physical with her, but in a way that isn't hungry hunter. So because of this, I have created a 10-week program. It's called Academy. You've probably heard about it, but maybe so far there's been something in your life that's stopped you from participating in it. Or maybe it's been COVID. That's been fun. But it is back this summer. I honestly don't know, and this is like hand on heart, how many times we're going to be running this program, just because I'm on a personal front just getting busier. I'm focusing on writing my books, and I love coaching. But with coaching, you have to give it your 110%, and I have to be really focused. So I want to make sure that I have the bandwidth to do this properly. So Academy is starting in late May. We have an online version, which means that if you happen to live in a different country around the world that isn't the UK, we're not the centre of the universe, you can participate online. There's also, if you can come to London to do your live coaching, there's the option to do that as well. And live coaching, for those of you who are not sure about that, basically means learning how to meet women in real life. Academy is a really broad program though. It goes over 10 weeks and it's extremely detailed. That's because after many years of working with some really famous pickup artists and helping them coach on their boot camps, I just felt like as much as many of them were trying to do really good work, the boot camp model is a bit flawed because you kind of go for a weekend and then like it might be good, it might be bad, but it's over so quickly, you don't really have time to internalize those learnings. So the idea of Academy is by going over 10 weeks, we get just so much of a better time window for you to develop new habits. It also means we can address so many other subjects apart from live approaching, which are important for modern dating, such as developing a great messaging style, getting your personal styling sorted out so your fashion talks in the right way, making sure your messaging is super good and again communicating the right values, improving your conversation skills. We have the time to do that. So every week on Academy you get assignments, so it is a bit like a course. You should expect to spend a few hours a week doing it. There's also a masterclass webinar. A lot of them are run by me personally. Other times I will bring in other experts. For instance, I am #not a stylist, so I will get a stylist to run the style webinar. So every week there's a webinar, there is coursework, and what's even cooler is there's a 24/7 chat thread. So this means that any time of day or night you can ask the car coaching team your questions. So if you're not sure what to respond to a woman, or you've made an edit to your online dating profile and you want to get feedback on that, it allows you lots of real-time feedback to get on top of things. So I hope that helps, and I hope to see you again in May this year. I'm like personally absolutely so excited to do some more out there live coaching again, also because it's the summer and it's such a great time to go out and meet people, or explicitly to meet women. So if you want more details, I will be giving some more details and information on this incredible course in the coming weeks. Of course, because quality control is also important to us, we do have limited numbers available. So if you're interested in joining, I would just highly encourage you to get in touch with us or book your spot early on. Anyway, whether I see you on Academy or not, I hope you found these videos really useful and can hopefully replay them, get some tips out there, make that dating app profile really start to work for you, and also really just start to understand this matrix of attraction. Anyway, have a really great evening or daytime over there, and thank you again for watching.